Hey everyone. So today I really wanted to talk about the Jordan B. Peterson court case. So as I was researching this, I really think that there are two things. There are two sides to this. The first thing I want to say about Dr. Peterson is it floors me that no one has ever pointed this out. I've never heard this in all of the content I've seen on him. I've watched him for at least the last couple of years. I mean, it's almost impossible not to because his name is everywhere. Um, Regardless of what you may think of him, he's dedicated his life to serving other people and elevating the lives of other people. So he was a college professor, I believe, at Harvard for a number of years. His lectures you can find online. Um, and besides that, I mean, between that and he was a clinical counselor. He's a psychologist by trade. So he spent years trying to elevate the lives of other people. And I totally understand. I totally get many people might think, well, why is that even relevant? I just think that matters when it comes to considering what to do with him. Now, let's get into some of the things, what we know, because I do not agree. I mean, especially with some of the comments that he made, I would never make about somebody. So the courts have basically said that Dr. Peterson has to undergo social media training. Now, again, what that even means is up for debate. Of course, social media is a relatively new phenomena, and I don't know that there are any experts that are trained in the use of social media. I mean, it's a really good question, right? Because this is something that's kind of new, and I don't know that anyone really has a great way. I mean, honestly, I'd love to hear if somebody knows what a social media expert is. Then we can, I guess we can talk about it. But I didn't know that any social media expert existed.
It's within the college's purview to stop me from having any political opinions, as far as I can tell.
Boy, this is it just keeps getting more interesting, doesn't it? So you can actually pull up the Government of Canada's website. You can see here, this is their system of justice, rights and freedoms, section 2B here, freedom of expression. Everyone has the following fundamental freedoms: freedom of thought, belief, opinion, and expression, including freedom of the press and other media of communication. I really wanted to point this out too, is that the Canadian Constitution includes acts from 1867 and 1982. It's the supreme law of Canada, meaning there is nothing that trumps this.
Called social media experts, and that's also, by the way, a profession that does not exist.
Yeah, so social media does not exist at all in the Constitution. So that's the point of bringing up the dates. There's, of course, when this was created, there was no Instagram, there was no YouTube, there was no Twitter, right? So
those opinions involve two criticisms of Justin Trudeau, one criticism of his chief of staff, one criticism of an Ottawa city councillor, and then my objection on Joe Rogan to the climate apocalyptic fear-mongering that idiot tyrants are foisting on the general population. I think I have a responsibility to say what I think, and I think many people agree with that, and I think the fundamental consequence of that around the world has been massively beneficial to people.
I wanted to peek around the College of Psychologists in Ontario to see what I could find, but you can see smack dab right on the front page in your face is "We protect your interests by monitoring and regulating the practice of psychology." And it's kind of funny because it's almost as if they updated this. I've never been on this website before, but it's almost as if they've put this on the front page for Dr. Peterson. I'm really curious as to their strategic direction. And I believe, there is some, there is a little bit of, there is a reason for such things like this. Like, you do want to protect the public through regulation of care. But I think the problem is, and the big question obviously is, how much regulation do you need, and where does free speech, where does the freedom of speech begin and end? I think that's where the line here is really blurry, and it's just extremely difficult to even, on one hand, you do want to respect and support, when you're a member of a profession, you want your behavior to reflect positively there, but at the same time, I think the main thing to me is that Dr. Peterson has an enormous reach and influence, and when you start putting out comments that are pretty negative, that can have a huge impact on people because of how much exposure he has. Yeah. One of the value statements is treat all persons and people with dignity. And so I think you really can call into question, irrespective of if you're right or wrong on your statement, you can really call into question a lot of the statements. A few of the statements that he made do seem to, be pretty disparaging of people. Dr. Peterson, there are standards of professional conduct as of 2017, 5 years ago, over 5 years ago.